Yo guys, SafeFX, welcome back to another video. Today we're gonna be talking about the previous day highs and lows, right? And using those as buy stops or sell stop rates in mix with the power of three profile, right? In simple terms, we'll be utilizing these two profiles to get a strict type setup, if that makes any sense. I got no idea what I just said, but in simple words, we're looking to see price violate the previous day high or low, right? And then provide us with a power of three profile. And the power of three profile is, in simple terms, the accumulation, manipulation, distribution, right? The general one would be the Asian range is regarded as accumulation. The Judas swing from midnight to 2 a.m. New York time would be our manipulation, and then price delivery during London would be our distribution, right? So right now, let me just show you what we're going to be going into, right? So this is pretty much our profile, right? This is pretty much our structure and price. In simple terms, we just look to see price violate the previous day high, if that makes any sense. And this should be happening between one of the two. It's either happening during the New York kill zone or the London kill zone, right? And in simple terms, we look to see price open as soon as price opens during midnight. This is the midnight line, right? We want to see it gravitate higher, drawing into the previous day high, and then sweeping it, and then providing us some form of displacement within the London range or the New York range. Pretty much a daily candlestick. This is what we're looking to see our daily candlestick look like, if that makes sense. So in simple terms, when we bearish, we look to see price draw into higher time frame PD arrays that are within the discount zone of price or the discount arrays, if that makes sense. Or we look to see price target short-term lows, if that makes sense. For example, this can be session lows. For example, if you're taking a trade during the London session, let me just show you this on a physical chart example, right? So within this chart, right, we've got the previous day high, right, and price sweeps it just right before London kill zone, right? But it happens on the new day. As soon as like the new day candlestick hits, bear in mind all this charts will be within the 15-minute time frame, right? So as soon as price opens, we look to see price sweep the previous day high and then provide us some form of a rejection lower or a distribution lower, right? So we're regarding our rally to sweep out the previous day high as our manipulation phase, and anything between the previous day high and the new day open, right, would be our accumulation phase, if that makes any sense. This is kind of like stagnant price, if that makes sense. And then as soon as price opens, we look to see it violate the previous day high, then providing us with lower prices, if that makes sense, right? So within this London range, you'd be looking for entries that you might tend to utilize, right? For example, some would wait for price to sweep the short-term high again, and then provide some form of displacement, right, lower. So by price sweeps this high, price goes lower. This could be our first displacement. This would be our favorably gap, right? That's I think that's pretty much the 2022 mentorship profile. And then we look to see price really lower, right? And then your stop loss would be above here, and with a potential addition of like 5 pips, right? So because price could still use this as stop rates to draw price higher, right? So you would have to leave some into London, some room for your stop. And personally, when I'm looking for shorts in a reasonable distance after price between this recent high, right, if that makes sense. Someone else would be looking for the silver bullet that happens between 3 a.m. to 4 a.m. New York time, right, during the London kill zone, right, whereby within the London range we look for fair value gaps that support price lower, right? So as soon as price starts dropping lower like this, you could potentially use this inversion fair value gap as an entry to draw price lower, right? Or you regard this as displacement to draw price lower. But yeah, that's pretty much how this profile looks, and this is pretty much what I'm personally looking for on a day-to-day basis, right? So this is kind of like a addition from the previous video where I was talking about the AM trend for features profile, right? I look for this profile even during before AM and PM trend, right? So I'm also looking for this similar profile during the London kill zone, New York kill zone, and AM and PM trend, right? So, but in Forex, I'll be mainly focused on identifying this page during this profile during the London kill zone or the New York kill zone, if that makes sense, right? So right now we've got a second example. The similarities are basically the rule base is the same, but the chart's always gonna look different, right? So how you maneuver it is gonna be totally up to you and how you comfortable with it, right? Some people would even use this as a form of turtle soup. So as soon as price hits the previous day high, they would be triggered in to start going short and then place the stop loss above with a reasonable pip distance, if that makes sense, or using a higher time frame PD array, if that makes sense. So right now we'll be moving into the New York kill zone profile. It's pretty much simple and familiar, or they pretty much the same. The only difference is they happen during two different kill zone or sessions, right? The first one is London, the second one is New York, but we look for exactly the same thing. But with New York, that's if London fails to sweep out the previous day high, right? We look to see New York sweep the previous day high and then provide us with bearish structure, if that makes sense. And a potential key way you can identify if price is willing to respect the previous day high, right? I personally tend to like go on the 15-minute time frame, right? The current time frame that we're in. As soon as price sweeps the previous day high, right? As you can see, this whole impulse higher was our Judas swing, if that makes sense. When we see price move like this, right? Personally, I only look at the highest candlestick, right? The current highest candlestick, the one before it, and the one after. So this is kind of like highest high, the lower high, and a lower high before it. Some kind of like a head and shoulder pattern, but it's not a head and shoulder pattern. We're just identifying the candlestick highs based on like the 15-minute time frame, right? And in simple terms, I look to see price as soon as this candlestick closes. I look to see price draw lower to this 15 candlestick low, if that makes sense, right? So I would scale down into a potential all the way from the 5-minute time frame to the 1 minute, looking for entries around this candlestick's close, targeting low price, right? And my first drawn liquidity would be the London low, if that makes sense. Then now we've got an additional chart example. This one is for London, simple, familiar, but yeah. This one is New York, right? So if you're actually able to pay attention, is that this is kind of like a repeating phenomenon, right? They pretty much all look the same. The minute you start hiding all noises, meaning that you're only looking at the previous day high and previous day low, and then you patiently wait to see price sweep, buy stops within the previous day high or sell stops within the previous day low. So in other words, if you were bearish, this is pretty much how you'd be anticipating price to behave, right? Like this on New York, like this on London. New York, London, New York, right? Similar thing right here. Similar. This one was even clear because it provided the 2022 mentorship profile, right? Which is violation of the high. This is buy side. Sweeps displacement. This order block range right here, but we would regard it as a breaker, right? And then goes back into the range, drawing into this fair value gap right here. So I would go onto a lower time frame like the previous video and look for a fair value gap within this 15-minute fair value gap, right? Specifically the 5-minute fair value gap, and wait for price to at least reach the consequent encroachment level of the 5-minute fair value gap within this range, right? And then I'd be looking for short displacement on the 1 minute, drawing into my first target being sell side here, my overall one would be this current day low, if that makes sense. And this is pretty much how it looks when you're bullish, with a price to sweep out the previous day low during London, our manipulation phase. This is our accumulation, manipulation, price starts moving higher, right? And how you identify the price is trying to push a key, it's trying to move bullish and it's respecting the previous day low, right? You look at the last lower candlestick and the one before it and the one after it, right? You look to see price sweep its high, and then you start looking for longs, right? You can even like project from this high to this low, right? You can say your target is 2 times the range, would be potentially somewhere around here, if that makes sense. Yeah, so this is how it looks. Reoccurring phenomenon. See, so even like when it happens like this, right, and then London fails to sweep out the previous day low, price draws higher and then sweeps it during London, would still regard this as a valid price range to start looking for longs. Similar occurrence, lower low, the candlestick before it and the one after it. You look to see price sweep above the third candlestick's high, right? And then it can drop back into the range, potentially targeting an inefficiency, which can be in forms of an order block like this, an inversion fair value gap like this, or this fair value gap within this range like this, right? Price is not as clean here, but it's reoccurring. So hope you guys found this helpful, and then on the next video I'll be also going in depth. Now we'll be utilizing the previous day, the current London session highs and lows, and to look for a similar profile, but this one will be strictly focused on the New York Power 3, right? So if you guys found this video helpful and all those nice things, be sure to hit a subscribe button, the notification, and all those nice things.